Today's lesson will focus on geometric patterns. This is the fifth lesson in topic 2 of 4th grade Envision. The guiding question for this lesson is, how can a table with numbered pairs help you to complete a geometric pattern? The vocabulary for this lesson is as follows. Geometric pattern. Please copy this term and its meaning down in box 1 of your homework sheet. Let's begin with the problem-based interactive learning. Look at the cube towers. Do you see a pattern in the number of cubes used in each tower? What would the next 2 towers look like? You may pause the video now to complete the problem-based interactive learning. Let's begin. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the question. The question says, do you see a pattern in the number of cubes? So I know that I need to look at the number of cubes that's being used to build each tower. I notice that this first set of cubes in the pattern is 3 stories high. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 3 stories and 6 towers. The next tower is 3 stories plus 1 more on the top. That makes 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So for 4 stories, let me put a 3 here and a 4 here for the number of stories. There are 7. Now, this one is 3 stories, 4, 5. This one is 5 stories high, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's see if we can find a pattern with the numbers that I've written down. With 3 stories, I have 6. With 4 stories, which is 1 more story, I have 7, which is 1 more than the tower before it. With 1 more story than the last, I have 8. So it looks like the number is increasing on the top, and it's also for each story on the bottom, it's increasing. So I think I see the pattern. What would the next 2 towers look like? Okay, so what I need to do is I need to use the grid paper to go ahead and draw out my towers. All right, so that is the first tower with 6 cubes. Here's my second tower with 7. So I'm going to outline it. With my, all right, 7. There you go. Okay, now my third tower, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to choose to outline it first. Okay, and then shade inside, just a rough shade, just so you can see the tower inside the grid paper. The grid paper is useful because it helps me make sure that all my squares are the same size. If I was drawing this on regular paper, sometimes it's very difficult to keep all of the sizes of the cubes the same. So the grid paper helps keep it consistent. Now I need to draw the next 2 towers. I know that I'm going to go up 1 level. So this one is going to have 6 levels, and then it's going to have 9 cubes because the number of levels is going up, and so is the number of cubes. So I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's the original 6 that I started with on the first one. 7, 8, which would be this one, and then one more would make 9. Okay, so that's mine with the 6th level. All right, so now I got to do one more. I'm going to start out with my 6, and then this would be 7, 8, 9, and then 10. And so that's what the next 2 towers would look like. Now I could have also used, to solve this, a table. A table would have been helpful because if I know that I see a pattern and I'm writing out the numbers, you'll see I did it right here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then down here I'm writing on the numbers. I'm really writing a table, and using it in a table like this makes it easier to see and more organized. So look, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The numbers are increasing 1 on the top, and then 6, 7, 8. This would be 9, 10, 11, 12, and this would be 13. And so that's how you can use a table to help you predict what the remaining towers would look like. So you can use grid paper or you can use a table. A table would make it much easier and faster. All right, let's look at 2 more examples. In 1 and 2, draw the next 2 towers in the pattern. You may use grid paper to help find the missing number in each table. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the pattern itself and then see how it relates to the table. I see this has 1 level or 1 story. This one has 2, and then this one has 3. So for each story, it's adding 2 more to each one. So I know, because it's doing it by stories, it's really multiplying by 2. Because this is 1 times 2, 1 level times 2. This is 2 levels times 2. This is 3 levels times 2. So for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 levels times 2. And this is where grid paper would be helpful. Would make it 8. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing for 5 levels. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that would give me 10. So that's how you would use a table and drawing it out to show the next 2 towers in the pattern. Okay, let's look at the next one. Here I see 1 level or 1 story has 2. 1 story has 2. It's going down this way. For 2 stories, I have 3. So here's the second story, and it only added 1 more. So from 2 to 3 is plus 1. It added 1 more. So here's 1, 2, 3 stories. They only had 1 more cube. So the pattern is plus 1. So I'm going to draw the remaining 2 towers above. So for 1, 2, 3, 4 stories, I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, for 5 stories, so 2 on the bottom, 1. So this is 1 story, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 1 more plus 1. Okay, now this one uses 7. So I know that there's 2 on the bottom. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many stories? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or I could have just done the opposite of plus 1 because I'm going up, and I could have just subtracted. So that's how you use a table and drawing a picture to help you figure out the next 2 towers in the pattern. Now it's your turn. You're going to complete 11, 12, and 13 in box 3. Be sure to draw out the pictures. You may use grid paper if needed to complete these problems. And to connect to the concept in box 4, make sure you're answering the questions. How does a table help you continue the pattern in a cube tower? Which strategy was most helpful, and explain why? If you have any questions or comments, please bring them to class tomorrow. I look forward to working with you. That's all for now.